Hello everybody, I'm Brainy Diode, and I am back with another episode of A Hat in Time. Last time, we got a little bit acquainted with Mafia Town. You can see it on the left of that planet over there. And we met Mustache Girl, and decided that together we're going to take down the Mafia. This time, let's talk to Mustache Girl and get a better idea of what her plan is. It's a little Roomba! A little friend the Roomba. Most adorable Roomba to ever Roomba. Anyway, enough dilly-dallying, let's talk to Mustache Girl.
Are you ready to take down some Mafia? Let's do it! I'm psyched! Let's go over the plan. All assaults need a good plan, or it'll be a flop. First, we strangle them, choke them, and watch them beg for mercy. That'll show them. No, wait. Strangling is too kind. We smash them together into mush and put their remains in a jar. Then, we sell the jar for pocket money. That'll be the ultimate salt in the wound. But first, we have to make it through their Mafia HQ. Once we find and dethrone the Mafia boss, the rest will follow. Then our mush and jar party will be no problem. We've got to get you geared up. Your hat is basic, and we don't do basic in this gang. Yarn can be found around Mafia Town and used to stitch new hats if you're crafty. I've collected one for you. You need more yarn for some hats than others. I guess being creative isn't free. So keep an eye out for yarn. Now you're a killing machine. Let's go get them.
How on earth is Mustache Girl adorable and terrifying at the same time? Also, don't you dare diss giant purple top hats. Alright, so with that yarn, we should be one away from being able to stitch a new hat. My little recording bar is right over... I think we have two? Yeah, my little recording bar is right over the yarn count, so I can't quite tell for sure. And for some reason, it's not letting me move it right now. Can I, Will you let me move it, please? No, it's not letting me use the mouse right now, probably because I'm using my controller, so, I'll have to get that sorted before the next episode. You'll notice last episode that we picked up something called a relic. There are a bunch of different relics that are like secret collectibles, scattered throughout the world, and we'll be able to do something with relics a little bit later, but at the moment, relics don't really serve any purpose for us, so... don't worry about them quite yet. Another thing you may have seen last episode is it mentioned a rare sticker. Stickers are little items that can be used to accessorize your weapon. They go down in these little slots down here. We do start out with a couple stickers. Okay. Let's go ahead and stick another star on the umbrella. So when you have stickers, you can stick them on your weapon and accessorize it like that. It's a microwave. You use it to punish food that has been bad. Ah, lovely. All looks delicious. I hope those are like delicacies from Hat Girl's home planet and not just food that has gone very, very bad. So like I said last time, this game is just so charming, and there's just so much attention to detail. Like, I think you may have seen that, the bread pop out of this toaster. That's just a cute little detail that they didn't need to add, but they sure did. And just a lot of the flavor text around here just adds so much charm. There's actually not a ton in this room, but there's, what? Oh, that's for a thing outside the room. Alright. So let's go back into Mafia Town. And unlock Act 3. She came from outer space. Act 3. She came from outer space. Chapter Mafia Town. Population 379. Mission: recover fallen timepiece. Perspiration? The sky seems to be perspirating. Interesting. So, you'll see that the environment of Mafia Town has changed a little bit since we were last here. It's no longer the sunny, idyllic island that we saw before. It is now rainy and dreary. So, this is an example of how, in this case, you can't get any timepiece from any chapter. That's a little bit of a downside of this game, but it's not very serious. These enemies, when you get underneath them, they will drop down, and you can... Oh, here's another relic. The floating bear enemies, sleepy enemy things, when you get underneath them, they will drop down to attack you. They will do damage if they fall on you, as you might be able to figure out. You can attack them when they fall down, and they will be defeated. Or if you can get above them while they're in the air and use your little aerial attack, that will also defeat them in one hit. So they're a little bit annoying, but you can generally tell where they are because of the shadows that they cast, and they're not too difficult to deal with. Let's talk to these Mafia guys.
No one allowed into cave.
There's
Keep
quite...
distance to cave, ma'am. Don't even think about it.
There is quite a bit of voice acting in this game, and I think that's just another little impressive thing of how they really didn't spare any expense with this game, even though it is just a cute little indie title. It's a really solid, really charming, really well put together game. I enjoyed a ton, and I hope you enjoyed watching me play it. So we're going to blatantly ignore what these Mafia guys said and use this cannon to go into the cave. So that was the cave. Is this Mafia guy trying to attack me? He wasn't, but he sure is now. Okay, and then we can defeat the little bird. Whee! Umbrellas are bouncy. That's another thing to take note of. This game does a really solid job of just letting you discover the mechanics kind of on your own. It's pretty nice like that. That is not the Mafia person I intended to attack. Okay. There's another one here now. Okay. Interesting. Also, as far as I'm aware, there's no way to target specific enemies. So that's... I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, to be sure, but it's not the best either. Let's throw this beach ball at a Mafia guy. See what happens. Well, nothing's gonna happen if I miss. And while we're here, let's go ahead and pick up some yarn. Brewing yarn. Once we get the brewing hat, we will be... Ooh, another beach ball. Let's try again. Alright, not much happens. Once we get the brewing hat, we'll have a lot of new stuff opened up to us, so that's something to look forward to. What happens if we attack the TV? We accidentally hit the Mafia instead. Good to know. Why am I not doing the air attack? There we go. Alright. So, now that we have taken the beach for our own, let's head back through the cannon because there's somebody on the other side. Ooh. Okay, never mind. Let's head back through the cannon because there's somebody on this side that I want to talk to. And that is this boy. Oh, first let's get rid of this thing, just so we don't have to worry about it later. And I did not mean to fall down there, but I did. Also, you get, you can swim. And apparently if you go underwater, you get some steel drums added to the soundtrack, which is not a detail that I noticed previously. But it's kind of interesting to take note of. Anyway, I wanted to talk to this guy.
That darn seagull over there took my camera. I would have gone and done a belly dive over there. No, but this belly's too precious for sliding on.
This is the vacation guy, as I like to call him. I don't believe he has a canon name, but he might. The reason I call him the vacation guy is because he does have some lines in the first level that I forgot to go and see, where he tells you that he is on a vacation, and he has stopped here in Mafia Town on his way to the moon, which is his main vacation destination. So, hope you get to the moon, man. Anyway, let's go and get his camera for him. You're supposed to have a hat for this part, but it is super easy to just make it over there with a jumping mechanic that I'm actually not supposed to know yet, but I do know about it. So, whoops. Anyway, we are actually going to steal his camera, and now we have the camera badge. We can press back, which I believe is the left select button, to take pictures of your journey. Swap it out anytime in the start menu. And I think, yes, that did replace our item magnet badge with the camera badge, but the item magnet badge is so much more useful. So we can just head over here, get a couple pawns. Is there anything? There's nothing in that pipe yet. There will be later on, I believe. But for now, there is nothing in there. Do I have enough for the brewing yarn? It doesn't look like it. Nope, it looks like I have 3 yarn now. So, have 1 more yarn to get before I can do anything with these glowing things, but that's okay. For now, we'll just explore a bit more of Mafia Town. Mafia of cooks, #1 at everything. Guess that would explain why their telescope is in the kitchen. Let's see if I can actually get onto the platform this time. These are all enemies here. Ow, I just got hit by one of the birds. That's just kind of sad. You'll also notice that the floating sleepy bear guys can also get attracted toward you. Also, you can get... Oh, no, you can't get on top of the meat like this. It's a huge hunk of meat, just like in your cartoons, only far bigger. Weird, considering you haven't spotted any Leviathan animals around here. But if you do this, you can get up on top of the meat. No practical use to it right now, but, you know, it's there. You can do it. Just like there's no practical use to sitting. It's just a thing you can do. Because why not? This, I remember when this game was coming out, it advertised itself as a cute as heck 3D platformer. And let me tell you, it sure did deliver on that, because this game is cute as heck. The one slight problem with these umbrellas is that it's way too easy to get stuck underneath them. Let's just, you know, kill some Mafia people, because why not? Also, what did I just kick? It's just a can. Just a can, hanging out, being a can. Right, and there are some... Oops, I wanted to talk to you. You probably would have played patty cake with me, but that's okay. So you'll notice these green outlines of boxes that we just go right on through. That is another mechanic for a hat that we don't have yet. So you'll see here that... I mean, honestly, that hat... I don't even think it's possible to get that hat if you've only been to the first level. So you'll see that there's a lot of reasons to come back and revisit old levels that you may have thought you were done with. Alright, and it looks like I will need some more hats and badges to make it any further up there right now, so that's something to come back to. So there's a lot of reason to come back to old levels that you may have thought you were done with, even after you've finished them and gone on to future levels. Ooh, there's another chest, and we got another relic. Excellent. Sleepy Mafia, can we wake him up? We sure can't. So you may have noticed with all the rain came some mud on the ground. Let's see what happens when we drop into it. We are now muddy. Also, the music is a little funkier now. But mud will wash off if you get into the water. Give me a moment here. Mud will wash off if you get into the water. Apparently, that slide does not count as water. Mud will wash off if you get into the water. So, if you get muddy and you don't want to be muddy, that is an option. I believe mud is only a mechanic for this one level, though, so don't worry about it too much. If you don't like the little change that the mud gives you, don't worry about it. It's not going to be around for long. So we've got these floating ring things. Those are a mechanic for a badge that we don't have yet, so... Yes! Alright, we have 4 yarn now. We can make the brewing yarn. Or the brewing hat. Sorry.
Gotcha.
There's the brewing hat. It's a cute little witch hat. So when you get a new hat, like you can see there, you will have the
Right, both? Ha! Hop on! Both ride very safe.
I love the Mafia. Also, you can kill them after talking to them, which just improves. It improves the whole thing. Here's another Mafia to either talk to or kill. Apparently the correct option is kill. So I misspoke last episode. It looks like it actually takes 3 hits to defeat, or 3 umbrella hits to defeat Mafia. These Mafia were crowded around the mud for some reason. So I will mention one very minor problem with the item magnet badge is that if you get too close to a pawn, you will I'm sorry, not a pawn, a heart. If you get too close to a heart, you'll automatically collect it too, and that can be just a slight bit of an issue if you say want to save. If you have full health and want to save a heart for later, then if you accidentally collect a heart, that means you can't collect that heart later, so that's just a little bit of a problem. But on the whole, it is a very minor issue with an otherwise fantastic badge. And as I'm sure you can probably see, the game isn't exactly too conservative about giving out hearts. There are a lot of hearts in this game. Also, you can pick up a bucket of worms and throw it at people. Because, why not? Another thing about mud is that being muddy scares the Mafia. Because being muddy, Mafia are scared of muddy people, I guess. So there's your little introduction to Mafia Town. I just cleaned off the mud and fell immediately back into it. So there's a little introduction to Mafia Town. We've run around doing nothing much for long enough now. Let's see if we can't find the actual objective. I don't really remember where it is. Oh, right! I can use the kid's hat. The kid's hat will... on the Xbox controller, the kid's hat, if you use left trigger, the kid's hat will show you where objectives are. So if you're a little bit lost, that can help you out a little bit. It's not the most reliable thing in the world, unfortunately, but, you know, a lot of times it can help you out in a pinch. So that's something to remember. And since we have the opportunity, we just got the brewing hat, so we can go ahead and show off that ability. That can break those glowing boxes and other glowing things. And since I still haven't shown it off for whatever reason, let's show off the sprint hat. Like the name suggests, it just makes you go a little faster. It's probably... Of all the hats, it's probably the one I use least. There's a couple places later on where it's really helpful, but for the most part, it's not the greatest hat. That's just a little bit of a minor complaint with this game, is that the hats most of the time the hats don't really have much of a use beyond like their one most basic purpose. There probably could have been a couple other ways you could use the hats, but you know, it's not that big of a deal. They're kind of like power-ups that you can just access at any time, so it's really not terrible. It's just something that it didn't need to be done, but if it was, it would have improved the game just a little bit, in my opinion. So we got some more yarn there. I don't believe we have any other hat templates. Nope, that is all we have at the moment. Now, if I remember correctly, I could be wrong, so probably don't quote me on this, but if I remember correctly, I believe the game has 6 different hats. And then there are actually, later on, we'll be able to gain access to things called hat flares, which will change the appearance of the hats, but not change their function. So, for example, we'll be able to get a bow that goes on the kid's hat. That's the only example of a hat that we have right now that I can think of a flare for. But there are a bunch of other flares. Oh my goodness, I cannot remember the flares for either of the other hats that I have right now. Dang. So most of the time, whoops, fire does damage. Fire hurts. So just keep that in mind. So most of the use of the brewing hat is just to get extra pawns, and as you can probably tell, there are a lot of pawns in this game, so that's... money shouldn't be an issue for you very often. If it is, that probably just means you're not exploring the levels very thoroughly. I kind of want to see if I can go... Yeah, I'm going to go talk to the badge seller real quick, because I think that we might be at a point where he'll have some more stuff for us. Maybe?
Not everything I sell is of...
He already told us that. Alright, so he doesn't have any safety pins yet, which are the things that you can buy from him to equip extra badges, but I'll go ahead and buy the hover badge since I can afford it, and that way I won't have to worry about it later. And, there we go. Kill this mafia guy again. And since I said I was going to a while ago, and we never actually did, let us now get up. Can I climb this ladder, please? You can climb ladders in this game. I don't know what is going on there. So since I said I was going to and never actually did, let's stop wandering about randomly and actually proceed. Actually, I want to talk to this guy.
You punch people when big and strong. But Mafia no son never become big and strong. Mafia heart is broken.
Oh no. Mafia, you should accept your son for whatever he grows up to be. I just kind of did a firm nod there. So, here is the actual objective of the level. So, to do this, you will actually have to get muddy. So, if you aren't muddy, get muddy.
Huh? It's slimy space alien! Mafia's suspicious! Mafia know all along! Mafia is being invaded by aliens! Ah!
So here's a little goofy platforming bit. So obviously that Mafia has the timepiece and we want to chase after it. And this is to just teach you how to do the little mid-air dash that you've already seen me do a ton of. Also, you can climb things, but not quite as well as this Mafia, so what we're going to have to do is come over to this platform and go on ahead and jump over. Last time I played this, I was curious about what happens if you go wash yourself off during this segment, but as it turns out, if you try to exit the little area that this segment takes place in, it'll just warp you back to the platforming, so it's not actually possible to wash yourself off in this segment. So, oh well. Anyway, here we do some wall jumping. The camera for the wall jumping isn't always the greatest, but we make do. Like it says, you can cancel a dive by pressing A. You can do that at any point in your dive, or whatever your jump button happens to be. You can do that at any point in your dive, and that'll get you a bit further. Okay, so that's what I was talking about with it warping you back up to the platforming. I didn't mean to show that off, but it doesn't hurt that I did. The only bad part is it set us back a little bit, but that's okay. So you can cancel at any point in your dive, and that'll get you a little bit further, but it doesn't really do a lot for your verticality. Also, if you do a dive cancel, the moment you hit the ground while you're doing a dive, you'll get a little burst of speed that'll send you out a little bit faster. I think I've shown that off a couple times without actually bringing attention to it, but that's another mechanic that you have. Anyway, let's go catch this Mafia guy. Huff, huff.
Leave Mafia alone, you monster! Here, if Mafia give you this, will you go away?
Aw, poor Mafia guy, he's so scared. Sure, we'll take this and leave. Alright. And since I spent so long wandering around... Aw, the little Roomba. How many timepieces do we have? 3. Okay. So we're almost able to unlock this, but even when we do, I do think that I want to just kind of finish off Mafia Town before I go anywhere else. But since we did spend a very long time exploring Mafia Town that time around, I think I'm going to go ahead and start off my 1 level per episode bit. So, next time on A Hat in Time, we will be heading back into Mafia Town to see if we can get any more leads on the Mafia leader's location, so we can come one step closer to enacting Mustache Kid's plan. I will see you then.